A look at downtown Washington, D.C. with the capital of the United States, along with the Washington Monument. And we're joined by our Raptors television network crew featuring Gord Cutler, Paul Graham, Dan Gladman, and Forbes Finn Robertson. The third of three straight on the road for the Raptors tonight in Washington, D.C. against the backcourt featuring Hayes and Arenas.
Jarvis Hayes, the player you have to be careful of, Chuck. He can score inside and outside. Gilbert Arenas scores everywhere. He's especially effective going to the bucket. Mike James back in a lineup. And Jose Calderon, who's played exceptionally well over the last two games.
And Haywood, Jeffries, and Jamison. Jamison having another splendid season.
Yeah, and he torched Toronto in the first game with 29. Jeffries is a utility guy at 6'10" that plays all over the front court. But watch out for Brendan Haywood having a good season. His mobility in the front line hurt the Raptors in the opening game, and they'll be matched up with Mo Pete, Chris Bosh, and Rafael Araujo.
That's right. Let's take a look at our IBM winning strategies as the Raptors back-to-back wins taking out a Washington team with a mark of 7-8.
Chuck, coming into this game, looking at the IBM winning strategy is very, very important to continue to work the line. The last two wins, Raptors have been to the line 27 times a game and just taken 13 three-point shots a game, scoring 17 more points than their opponents at the free throw line. Hit the magic numbers. For Toronto, that is when they shoot between 40 and 45%, they're 2-2 on the season. That's far better than all their other numbers. That's where they got to get to and keep Arenas out of the paint. 27 points a game, fourth in the NBA. He's the guy the most effective. When he gets into the paint, that's when he starts getting the free throw line, dropping the ball off to his teammates. Very, very important, Chuck.
It's the Washington Ball Club that won 45 games a season ago. But as we mentioned in the opening tease, Leo, you take Larry Hughes out of the mix. They did make a trade with the Lakers, bringing in Caron Butler along with Chucky Atkins. They picked up Antonio Daniels, a 5-year deal, having played with Seattle last year. And they have 6 new players on their roster. It's just going to take time.
It definitely will take time. And again, going back to Gilbert Arenas, Chuck, it takes time adjusting to playing with him. The ball doesn't move as you normally would expect it to.
Washington won the opener 99-96, and Jamison was huge. 29 points, 9 boards, 3 assists.
Yeah, he really carried the Wizards offensively. Chuck made big plays, and he's a player that is very aggressive getting up and down the floor. He's not afraid of attacking the basket, and when that outside shot starts falling and he gets a rhythm going, he can put up very large numbers.
Remember that game count came down to the final 14 seconds. Jalen Rose called for a charge as Brendan Haywood, who weighs about 300 pounds, went to the floor. And they asked Brendan Haywood afterwards, did you take a dive or was that a charge? He goes, a charge, of course.
Well, I also remember Raptors had some pretty good looks at the basket down the stretch of that ball game. And here's the play you're referring to. Brendan Haywood coming up and, whoa, Jalen Rose got very, very strong in that play. I'll give Brendan Haywood credit for that, Chuck, because during the course of the game, he was very, very effective in disrupting a lot of pick and rolls by the Raptors. Eddie Jordan has been pleased with what he's getting from his big man, but it's been a struggle, as you mentioned, all the new players involved with this team, but most of all, losing Larry Hughes has been the biggest thing Eddie Jordan has had to try to overcome.
That's right. And the head coach of the Raptors, Sam Mitchell, very pleased with what he's seen out of his ball club over the past couple of games, and why not? This team has responded not only to the young players but also to the veterans. And Sam Mitchell looking forward to seeing what his club can do tonight against a Washington team that has struggled. They got beat the other night against Milwaukee in a buzzer beater by Mo Williams, who lit up the Wizards with 35. And there's Chris Bosh in this mini 2-game win streak for the Raptors, averaging 26 points, 11 rebounds, knocking down 22 of 23 free throws.
Well, Chuck, I mentioned the free throws in our IBM keys that not only is Bosh knocking down the free throws, but the Raptors have made 48 out of 54 free throws in the last 2 games. And again, that's a 17-point advantage at the line over 2 games.
Well, I'm
that's
glad
huge.
you mentioned that, Leo, because they are 8th in the league right now in free throw shooting with a franchise best 77%. And there is Gilbert Arenas. And Arenas, another outstanding player from the University of Arizona. Arizona's been following us wherever we go. We saw David Stoudemire with Memphis, went to Atlanta. Salim Stoudemire, his cousin. New Jersey had Richard Jefferson. Gilbert Arenas tonight.
We're going to see Luke Olson tomorrow. He's been producing one great player after another.
Yep. He had 21.7 assists, 4 boards, played 42 minutes in the Wizards' opening night victory in Toronto at the ACC. A sparse crowd on hand. They've been doing a great job here in Washington. Watching this team this year, averaging close to 18,000, but not the case tonight. Calderon feeding Bosch on the block. And he's matched up against Jared Jeffries, and we've got a push on the baseline and a foul.
Now, Chris Bosch is going to have to recognize the double team here, Chuck. Jeffries is a very active defender. He's about close to 6'10". Bosch has a little bit of a size advantage. Let's see, Jeffries is going to be active, and as soon as he gets Bosch where he wants him, Brendan Haywood is coming over. And Bosch is going to have to realize that and try to find his teammates, and also Araujo, if his man leaves him, that's Brendan Haywood. He's got to get to spots where Chris Bosch can find him.
Well, talking with Sam Mitchell today about free throws, I said, Sam, I mean, this club is 8th in the league, franchise high. And he kind of scoffed. He said, don't jinx me. And as Chris Bosch with a free throw.
Coaches get a little sensitive when you get a win streak going. You don't want to change anything. Just don't mention it.
And it's 1-0 Raptors. Jamison having another all-star type season. It's a very long, lean, athletic Washington club. Jamison from the elbow. That's off the mark. Raptors were very fortunate. That ball was loose on the floor.
Yeah, nobody wanted it. Washington left, and Raptors just watched it bounce.
Calderon's pass is deflected out of bounds. Calderon 17th in the league in assists.
No, he's doing a good job. Also, a 3-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio, Chuck. And anytime you're in that category, you know you're doing an outstanding job. And talk about an outstanding job. Mo Peterson shooting the ball 58% over his last 3 games. Last 3 road games. Which, remember, last season, that was a major issue for him.
Jarvis Hayes with a kind roll to the rim. He's been starting, Leo, and really struggling.
Well, he's only shooting around 40%. He's a far better shooter than that percentage. So they're confident that he will come around. Again, but you're hearing this with a lot of players on this Wizards team. They're not sure where their shots are coming from.
Here's Hoffa, blocked from behind by Jared Jeffries, and it's Jarvis Hayes. Hayes took only 3 shots against the Bucks in a scoreless 20 minutes, and he's perfect tonight.
And this is a game where he can get shots. If he's matched up with Mike James, he's got a size and weight advantage that could play heavily in his favor.
Here's Hoffa. Back it in. The pitch. Good ball movement by Toronto. Peterson, ring it up from our nation's capital, downtown Ottawa. That goes out to Rob Nuttall.
Chuck, Rafael Araujo did nothing more than try to get in the paint and then kicked it out. Just by getting inside, he created that opportunity for Mo Pete.
Hayes again. And he is on fire here in the first period.
That's the last thing the Raptors need is Jarvis Hayes to break out of his slump right now. But that's what happens when you get a couple of easy ones. Then you stretch out a little bit and let it fly.
You know, Leo, he was a season high opening night, 17 against Toronto. Since then, he has really struggled, and that's a great high-low feed with Rafael Araujo with a finish.
Well, so far we're seeing a lot of high-low, low-high action. And, Chuck, that's so important. And that's one of the reasons the Raptors are having no trouble putting points on the board.
Jamison, his pass, stolen, Calderon in backcourt. Here's Jose Calderon, bring the ball over the midcourt line. Let's see how the Raptors operate here in a half-court set. Bosch isolated against Jeffries, the 10-footer off window, and he goes back to the free throw line.
Well, Bosch is starting to learn how to play with the defender. If a defender has active hands, show him the ball a little bit. As long as you be aware that you have to protect it, you have to move it, but show him the ball a little bit. Try to time the movement of his hands, and maybe you can bring up the ball into your shooting touch or shooting spot as he's reaching, and that's exactly what Chris Bosch did.
Bosch is 17th in the league in scoring, averaging 21 per ball game. 3rd in the league in offensive rebounds. And so he has put together a magnificent breakout season.
Yeah, he's shooting 85% from the free throw line, but the key is getting to the line more, and the more comfortable you get, the better you are. See where he's ranking the NBA in free throws and free throw attempts, 67.
And I talked to Chris about that today at the shoot-around. He said, Chuck, you know what? I'm in a rhythm. And it's simple as that. I'm not changing anything, and he's been very consistent.
He's taking a little bit of credit off himself, Chuck. He's been working very hard to get that rhythm. He's a guy that just perseveres, and he's a sponge. He listens to everything his coaches tell him.
And Washington with a basket and one, and they will go to the line here.
Good movement there, and Jeffries active without the basketball, cutting through the lane. I really like Jared Jeffries, Chuck. You know, he really hasn't necessarily lived up to the high expectations coming into the NBA. Blew out his knee his first year in the league, but a player that I like, and if he just has a little bit more confidence offensively, can do some damage.
Our first quarter right here on the Score Television Network, brought to you by Ford. Games since day one. Mike James, nope. Rebound, Washington.
The Raptors are getting some wide open looks, though. You know, good job of finding shots.
Arenas with a pull-up. Very quick release.
Yes. But they have to find shooters in transition. That's the key. This Washington team obviously has guys that can light it up. They have great range, and just can't let people get off to a good start.
You're right. They're 6th in the league and scored at 98 per game. They made 5 of the first shots in the quarter, and it's 12-10 Wizards. Bosch again working against Jeffries. I love this matchup for Toronto. Bosch off the mark.
Rebounders have to stay in there, Chuck. That was a live ball. Nobody going after it.
And it's a blocking ball against Bosch. Jeffries taking a stroll on the baseline. And for Bosch, it's going to be his first. Side out of bounds. Sam Mitchell disagreeing with a call by Luis Grillo.
Get a different angle right here. Bosch. Yep, good call. Still moving.
Missed shot by Jarvis Hayes. And it's Peterson from 15. Wanted out for Toronto. And the Wizards go the other way. Arenas with a pull-up three. Are you kidding me? Unconscious.
Well, this is why you want to be careful of the quick shots, Chuck. Now, Mo Peterson, he's coming out. He's playing well early, so you can't fault him for feeling like he can make that shot. But the quicker the shots are, the more susceptible you are to giving a one up at the other end.
Wizards reeled off 8 straight points. Peterson slashing inside to the basket. And a block and a foul. And this will go against Washington.
Chuck, this has been a big difference in Mo Pete's game over the last 3-4 games. He's starting to really get to the free throw line, especially the last 2 on the road.
12 times.
That's right, 12 attempts at the free throw line. And when he does that, that tells you a couple things. He's being aggressive. He's really going after it. And he's playing with confidence. He's not afraid to go up and challenge people. Earlier in the season, we saw Mo Peterson almost look like he was trying to get rid of the ball. As soon as he sensed traffic or sensed somebody coming up, getting rid of it quickly as opposed to going up strong and saying, hey, you may be able to block this, but you're going to get some on my body or get my arm first.
Jalen Rose looking on as he started the last game against the Nets. With Mike James injured, he'll come off the bench against Washington, and a foul against Rafael Araujo. This will be a side out of bounds play.
Quick move, Gilbert Arenas. Oh, hip check. What's wrong with that?
I think so. Arenas. Stick back jam, Brendan Haywood. Nobody put a body on a veteran from North Carolina. And Haywood, who is 6th in the league in field goal percentage at 54%. And Sam Mitchell has seen enough here in the opening quarter, with the Wizards up 17-11 with 6:58, and this is going to be a 20-second timeout. And now they change it to a full. So we'll take a break from Washington, D.C. Back with more in a moment. President's Choice, Raptors Ball. And welcome back. Chuck Swirsky along with Leo Rounds, Norma Wick. Let's go to our Gatorade Game X Factor. And tonight, Brendan Haywood of Washington, Charlie Villanueva. Charlie V really doing a fine job for Toronto.
Well, he's shooting better than 50%. He's getting to the offensive glass and just being active, moving without the basketball, and that's so important for this team. There's enough guys that need the ball in their hands. You have to have some people that will find a way to get to it themselves.
Raptor ball, shooting 43% after the timeout.
Chuck, the big problem I see for Toronto right now, they're just not being as active as they need to be on the glass at both ends of the floor.
Mike James, that ball was halfway down the cylinder. Why aren't they, Leo?
That's a good question. For a team that's won a couple of games, you want to come out as aggressively as possible. When you're letting the ball hit the floor, not being there, it's telling you you're just not going after it. They have to get up there.
And Jarvis Hayes, who's been in a slump, but not tonight, folks. He's got 9 this quarter.
Well, he's a matchup problem for the group that's on the floor for Toronto right now. Mike James just doesn't have the height to match up with him. Jarvis is a strong player that can shoot with his back to the basket, can face up. As I said, he's a far better shooter than his 40% on the season indicates.
That's right. As a starter, shooting only 37%, but tonight 4 of 5 from the corner. Peterson again, another nylon from OP.
He has just really come along. So much confidence.
Peterson now with 9 first quarter points. And a 5-point Washington lead. We near the 6-minute mark here in D.C. Arenas gives it back to Jamison. The 18-footer is good. Antoine Jamison.
Sam Mitchell telling Mo Peterson, you got to get up, make Antoine Jamison put the ball on the floor. You give him that shot, watch out.
Peeling off the screen, Calderon to the rack. Arenas now floats a pass. They like this matchup. Jarvis Hayes against Mike James. It'll be interesting to see if he gets the ball back. Arenas elects to gun, shoot, and score.
Right now, the shots are just a little too easy. Raptors are in the vicinity, but they're not getting close enough to take those looks away. And Sam Mitchell wants to time out and discuss this before it gets out of hand.
Well, Washington is shooting 77%. We'll return in a moment from Washington, D.C. Welcome back to the MCI Center in Washington. Our Ford Fusion, create a reaction, and creating quite a reaction is the quote. We're like Tim Duncan and David Robinson, but a younger version. I really feel that. Can you attribute that quote to Bosch, Villanueva, or Matt Bonner?
Well, I can see a couple of guys that it would work with. I can see one of them might not, so I don't know if that helps anybody out.
Let's swing it over to Norma Wick.
Gilbert told me about how his father, who was a halfback at the University of Miami, played with Jim Kelly, used to school him on the playground. Gilbert said, I used to reach all the time, and my dad told me, if you do that again, I'm going to break your hand. Gilbert persisted. His dad reached out, smacked him, broke his baby finger, but wouldn't let him leave the playground. He said, I got some tough love growing up, but by 9th grade, he couldn't school me anymore, guys.
Well, Chuck, remember what happened? I told you the same thing. You know, you reach across, take my chocolate chip cookies, I'm going to break your hand. I don't want to get there, all right? Let's just leave it at that.
Well, I'd like to know what Sam Mitchell left on the table during that timeout, because his club responded with a strong move to the rim with Bosch going back to the free throw line, Leo, for the now coming 6th time of the quarter.
Well, Chuck, it's real simple. I can guarantee you Sam told his guys, you know what, we won 2 games by being aggressive, not giving things up easily, and by attacking the basket and getting to the free throw line. Let's get back to what we know we're capable of doing, and we have to do it now.
Washington's backcourt of Hayes and Arenas have outscored James and Calderon 17-0. Washington on a 17-6 run. They've scored 17 points in 3.5 minutes. Arenas.
Well, Raptors make a little adjustment now. They have Calderon on Hayes and James now on Arenas.
Right. Washington with a block now. They threw it away. Villanueva. James with a step back. Left pocket 3. Bam! Off the Raptors steal.
Yeah, heads up play. Generate points out of your defense. Washington will turn the ball over.
This is Arenas now to Calvin Booth. Interesting story about Booth on that big fat contract with Seattle. And it has never materialized. Another 3 for Jarvis Hayes. Hayes with 12 on 5 of 6 shooting.
Well, give Washington credit, Chuck. They're realizing he's got the hot hand, and they're making sure he's getting his touches right now.
And so is Bosch getting plenty of touches with the spin. Calderon, they swing it around.
Well, Bosch got rid of that too quick, Chuck. Booth can't guard him.
I agree. Here's Charlie Villanueva. A line drive, 12-footer left of the lane.
He's really impressed, folks, with that little turnaround jump shot of his. Chuck, he's comfortable facing the basket or putting his back to the basket.
Hayes again. Yep. Rebound Peterson. And Mo has been brilliant here in the first quarter. With 9 points, there's Chris Bosh. Speaking of great.
Well, and right now, this is the matchup. We talk about some of the advantages Washington has had with their backcourt. The front court advantage goes to the Raptors with Bosh matched up by Booth.
Jamison, quick catch and shoot. Jamison, 20th in the league in scoring, averaging 20 a game, 6th in the league in rebounding, at 11 per contest. And he told me prior to the ball game that was one of his goals to have a career year hitting the boards, and he's doing just that. Here's Peterson again from the corner, and Mo with his 3rd tray of the first period.
Gonna call foul here on Mo Peterson. Oh, he disagrees with that call. He said, hey, I was just trying to get back. Mo Pete, great job here. This is, again, that Mo Peterson coming off the screens, the ball going inside, swinging the ball, finding Mo Peterson. He's on a roll right now, and he's a guy that has to take advantage of this, Chuck. When you've got, you know, through the course of the NBA season, you get those streaks, you get those rolls, and he's on one of them right now, and you got to milk it.
Wide open shot. Jamison, no. Offensive rebound. Calvin Booth and a fresh shot clock at 24. Missed 3 by Jarvis Hayes. They really don't pass the ball much, do they, Leo?
No, and that's the problem. Nice pass there, though, by Calderon.
Jose Calderon has 4 first quarter assists. Arenas, 2 easy, and he will shoot 2.
He's just so quick coming down the floor. And this is something the Raptors do not want to see right now, Chuck. With a basically a 9-man rotation, Sam Mitchell does not want to see anybody go down with anything.
Was that just above the knee or knee on knee?
Probably just a little knee on knee there, Chuck. And what you have to do is really anticipate what Gilbert Arenas. He had such a full head of steam. You knew where he was going. You can't sit and wait for him. You got to react and try to get in front of him as quickly as possible. And Sam Mitchell right now having a little discussion with Jose Calderon, saying, hey, you have to find a way to get to him and just keep him in front of you. Once he gets up ahead of steam like that, you're in real big trouble with the opportunities he can create for himself and for his teammates.
We look at Gilbert Arenas, and he's taken an enormous amount of threes this season, 108. But he also is very proficient at the free throw line. This is his 120th attempt already this year, Leo, 11th best in the association.
Well, you know what, Chuck? I think he is so talented that he gets confused at times. He can do whatever he wants. And at times he's really not sure what to do or what's the best thing to do. And he does whatever he just thinks he can do. And he's too good a player. He's got to learn to make the right decisions. Great block there.
Yes. A gorgeous pass, by the way, from Calderon to Chris. Jamison with space.
Just too many open looks, Chuck.
Way too many. Washington, 68% here in the first quarter. I mean, the Raptors are shooting 56%.
Well, that's exactly it. You don't want to waste a great offensive effort. I mean, they have 28 points. But they're giving up 32, and a lot of those are uncontested shots.
Boy, Leo, we could have a good old shootout here.
Shootout at the OK Corral.
Yeah. This is going to be like the ABA. We're the Kentucky Colonels.
I'm up for one of those tonight.
So am I. And so Chris Bosh, this is appearances number 7 and 8 already in the corner. And I don't know what Calvin Booth was thinking.
Well, he's trying to say, hey, I'm not going to let you set the screen, but you might want to be a little bit more subtle about that.
Discreet, that's right.
Well, you know, Calvin Booth just absolutely cannot play against Chris Bosh. And Chris has the quickness advantage. He has a skill advantage. And this is a good opportunity for the Raptors to go at Booth in any way they can.
Meantime, Bosh with 8 points and 3 rebounds. He is 6 of 7 from the line. Free throws really, I mean, just keeping the Raptors in this first quarter trailing by only 3. This is their 10th attempt.
Right, but they should realize that, Chuck, and continue to try to get the ball inside. Literally every opportunity the Raptors have attacked from the inside, they've had something, whether it be getting a trip to the free throw line, getting a wide open jump shot, or getting a layup.
From 17.
Well, that did not go
they will give him that shot any day of the week. The Raptors looking to tie it up here with less than 90 seconds remaining. Bosch, they clear the side against Boot. Backing in, and the pitch. Here we got 3 in the queue.
And this is where Chris gets in trouble, being indecisive. He just has to realize, and Sam Mitchell saying, just beat him. Just put the ball on the floor and beat him.
I'm surprised, Leo, that Eddie Jordan doesn't double Bosch earlier.
Well, you tried a lot of different things during the course of the game. Right now, everybody kind of feeling their way around.
They want to post up Jamison, and Joey Graham put 2 hands on the back of Antoine Jamison and fouled him. Good look at Joey Graham, who played very well Saturday in New Jersey against the Nets and Vince Carter.
He's starting to show that aggressive side that everybody saw at Oklahoma State. Really get out and challenge people, get in your grill, and he's starting to bring that right now.
Right in front of us, Sam Mitchell having a discussion with Chris Bosch.
Basically telling him, hey, take your man, go baseline, create something for yourself, but don't hesitate. When you have an advantage, it's yours.
Now Antonio Daniels checking in for Jarvis Hayes, and also Alex English having a few words with Bosch. Sid Sixerio, the score tonight at 10 o'clock right here on the Score Television Network.
A nice advantage for a young man to come to the bench, Chuck, and have a guy that scored over 20,000 points in his NBA career to tell you a couple little things you need to do when you're on the floor. There's Alex, a guy you did not want to guard, believe me. That's why you grab on his jersey and he's going to run you to death when he was on the floor.
Joey Graham, no. Offensive putback, coming away, but no. Caron Butler is enjoying a solid season off the bench in his first year with Washington after a starter with Miami and the Lakers. Arenas, and he is fouled from behind. Calderon tripped him at the top of the circle.
Well, see, Arenas created that, Chuck. He turned the corner for that shot and hesitated. He knew that Calderon was coming from behind and almost jumped backwards a little bit as he went up on the shot.
He did the little scissors kick.
Exactly. Again, the experience or the learning experience for Calderon that every single night in this league you're facing guys that create a whole different set of problems. Whether it's size, quickness, strength, skill set, all kinds of different things he's looking at on a nightly basis. And there's Raptors assistant coach Jim Todd trying to point out a few things to him.
Mike James back on the floor, replacing Calderon. Gilbert Arenas, his 4th free throw attempt of the quarter. 80% shooter, but having missed 2 already tonight. It's 35-30 Washington. Peterson has led the Raptors with 12, Bosch with 9. On the floor now, Rose, Villanueva, James, Graham, and Bonner. Jalen backing in on Antonio Daniels, ribbing good.
Jalen Rose taking no time at all to get his first bucket.
Nope. We had 20 against Washington opening night, but only 1 for 5 in the 4th quarter, including that key turnover. You talk about the guy who's struggling right here, Antonio Daniels.
Oh, Chuck, he's come from different environments where there was a lot more ball movement and there's consistent touches. He does not know when he's going to get a shot playing for this team. See the way that ball was just kind of bouncing, Chuck? Everybody's looking at one another. Who's going to get it? Don't look at anybody else. Just go get the ball. That's what the Raptors have been doing so well the last couple of games.
Here's Mike James with a pull-up from 30 feet. And a hard banker won't work. Did last week, though. But tonight, a high-scoring affair here in Washington, D.C. Gilbert Arenas and the Wizards lead Toronto Wizards. Ernie Grunfeld, who was an outstanding player in the NBA from the University of Tennessee.
The Ernie and Bernie show at Tennessee.
Bernard King, that's right. And Ernie's son, Dan, is an outstanding player at Stanford. In fact, Ernie told me prior to the ball game he's going to go out west to see his son play a couple of games for the Stanford Cardinal next week.
I used to really enjoy Ernie Grunfeld's game, Chuck. Very smart, very strong.
So you know you're getting old, folks, when the generation, Andy Routens, Dan Grunfeld, when they start seeing them play college ball. Seems like yesterday you were playing ball, Leo, and
I know now you're talking about your kids. That's a little scary.
Well, this is Mike James. 35-32 Wizards with a season-high first-quarter production. Jalen with another post-up turnaround. That's off the mark. And here come the Wizards. Underneath it, a dunk. Calvin Booth
Sam Mitchell just looking back at his guys saying, come on, I mean, what was that? You just have to have some kind of presence defensively. And right now, Washington shooting better than 60% because they're getting wide open opportunities.
They really are. Rose, the no-look, Villanueva went up strong, and he drew the foul and will shoot two.
A good read by Rose, Chuck. He knew that double team was coming. As that ball was coming to his hands, Andre Blatch with the foul, and good pass from Rose to Villanueva.
So Charlie V, yep, go ahead.
Chuck, good to see Blatch on the floor for Washington. Had a horrifying experience prior to the season. Actually got shot.
Our speed stick 5 minute first quarter stats.
See, Raptors shooting the ball well, Chuck. Unfortunately, Washington shooting the ball even better, but the Raptors have been to the free throw line. They are being out-rebounded. But, you know, when you're shooting the ball well, you're not turning the ball over. You don't want to waste your opportunities, but you have to defend.
So Charlie V with a couple of free throws, 37-34 Wizards. Blatch. And this is Caron Butler challenging Charlie V. That's one Husky to another.
And you know he's letting him hear all about it right now. Hey, I heard you can play D. Jim Calhoun told me you can guard me.
And we're going to have a foul. Tom Washington, a very highly regarded veteran official, making the call. This will go against Calvin Booth. And that's going to be Booth's second. Out of Reynoldsburg, Ohio, recruited by Jack Armstrong. But he elected not to go to Niagara.
No wonder he made it to the NBA.
Another foul against Washington here in the second quarter.
You know, there's always some little story in somebody's career. And here's a shot of Blatch again. I started to touch on Chuck. Got shot before the season, sitting in his car. And
it was a car jack.
Yeah, car pulled up, and next thing you know, he was shot. And fortunately, it could have been a lot more serious than he was. But, you know, I got to see this young man actually in Syracuse, Chuck. He went to Nottingham High School. My son played against his team and really got to see him throughout his high school career. And great to see him here in the NBA.
Loose ball picked up by Bonner. Fresh shot clock 24. Rose again. Too strong. And it's deflected. Who will receive the ball? It will be Toronto basketball.
Good job by Matt Bonner, Chuck.
Yep. He took nothing for granted. When you see a loose ball, go get it. So the Raptors shooting 44%. Washington still over 60%, 63%. But here we are in a very close ball game with the Wizards leading by 5. Washington 4-3 at home. Again, having lost 7 of their last 9. Villanueva with a pump on a drive and another. The Wizards' third foul in a period of about 40 seconds. And there's Antonio Daniels. Well, the Raptors are going to be in the bonus very soon.
And you want to take advantage of that. Keep putting the ball on the floor and attack.
I mean, Washington with their 14th foul. Here's Charlie V giving it up. Matt Bonner from the pocket. Yes, another 3. And for the Raptors, their 5th triple tonight.
Good pass, Chuck. Again, getting that penetration in the kick.
Our second quarter brought to you by Nissan. 39-37 Washington. Leo, I see very little ball movement. You know, this Washington team has been known to have cuts and backdoors, and none of that tonight. Oh, my goodness.
No, but they're considering that, Chuck. They're finding a way to score. Blatch with the jump shot. And again, that's why different players are having trouble adjusting, because there is a lot of one-on-one, and you kind of have that mentality where, and Larry Hughes played into that mentality very well, where you just got to go out and get yours sometimes. And they have some guys that are just waiting for that ball to get to them.
Tom Washington underneath the rim has called traveling on Charlie Villanueva. (41-37) Washington. You see Antonio Daniels with the high black socks. He wore those socks when he played with the Spurs to try and snap out of a slump. And so he put them on, hoping to accomplish the same production. because it's just not working here in Washington after Leo mentioned having a splendid season a year ago in Seattle and the Wizards turned it over. It's a different look, isn't it, Leo?
Well, you got to keep your legs warm, Chuck.
Yeah, I guess so.
A little snow in the Washington area.
Right now it's raining trays for the Raptors. That's your weather report on the score. And let's take a look at our Speed Stick 5-minute player of the week, and it's Dwayne Wade of the Miami Heat.
Very explosive player. The Raptors got a chance to see him earlier this year. The Raptors won that ball game. But Dwayne Wade gets it done all over the floor. Take a look at some of his numbers. 18 games, almost 26 points, 7 assists, and close to 7 rebounds a game, and shooting 45%. Not bad. Second in the NBA in free throw attempts.
That's my favorite stat.
Yep.
It says it all about Dwayne Wade. Fearless. Villanueva with a post-up on Brendan Haywood. So sweet and smooth. That's Charlie V.
Oh, you gotta love that, Chuck. Brendan Haywood, a 7-footer, and Villanueva saying, hey, big fella, come get this.
See, I love it because you know what? He is not backing down. Haywood's 8th in the league in blocks, Leo. Villanueva says, I'm taking it right in the mud.
Well, first he went into his body, then he came away from it, and that's what you want to do with a 7-footer. Hit the body first.
How about Joey Graham with a box out? Andre Blanche.
Oh, that's a real nice move right there. Weak side, sleeping. And there's no way Blatch can cover a player like Mike James.
No. We have a tie ball game at 41. Bonner on the back of Haywood, and that's a foul.
Except the Raptors' defense has been porous, but believe me, Washington's defense is just as bad. The Raptors have to realize if they just tighten things up a little bit, they can get whatever they want at the offensive end of the floor.
Gilbert Arenas back on the court with 10 points.
From a physical standpoint right now, Raptors have a better matchup defensively in the backcourt.
And why is that, Leo?
Well, the Raptors are a little bigger and stronger. The key is keeping Haywood off the glass, but with Mike James and Jalen Rose on the floor, you're a little bit bigger, and that's going to match up better with Hayes and Arenas.
So the Raps looking to take their first lead since early in the opening quarter. Second quarter action right here on the score, tied at 41 with 7:45 remaining. Raptors home tomorrow against Kobe and the Lakers. Then it's on to Charlotte Saturday night. Ron Butler.
Raptors need to avoid that shot right there, Chuck. Jalen Rose to get out of his funk.
Jarvis Hayes had a good look underneath, nice, and it rolled off. And Villanueva with a finger roll.
That was a beautiful pass. And Jalen is more than capable of dropping some dimes out there, and that was about as pretty as you get there.
How about Charlie V with 10 points off the bench on 4 or 5 from the floor. And Villanueva and the Raptors have retaken the lead, 43-41.
He saw when he distributed it playing for Eddie Sutton in college.
So this is Arenas. And the pitch to Jameson. And he tried to go inside to Jeffries. And another steal for the Toronto Raptors.
Well, this group right now being very aggressive. Chuck, they're scoring in the paint. Villanueva, good kick right there. And
how good is that?
Well, see, you drive, you kick. The Raptors only had 4 points in the paint, but last couple of minutes they've scored 6. They also got that drive there. Villanueva finding Matt Bonner. Their defense is picking up. They're really getting after it now.
Good to see Bonner having a solid game after struggling the first 2 contests on the road.
Well, when you're a shooter, Chuck, you're going to have your ups and downs. What you want to try to keep doing is, well, Matt Bonner, what he brings to the table is defense in terms of hustle, rebounding on the glass, the loose balls, and on offense, just keep shooting the ball. As long as you're taking good shots, you're fine.
Yep. Well, he only had 2 rebounds in 33 minutes against the Hawks and Nets combined. So again, Matt Bonner bringing the A game tonight. Daniels forced up the shot and a very late whistle. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's a tough call right there. Sam Mitchell did not like that at all. But that's the type of shot where, and is the reason why Antonio Daniels is struggling, Chuck. He's not sure where he's going to get his points, so he's just going one-on-one, and that's really not his game. And on the replay, you do see a little contact on the wrist from Jalen Rose.
But this system that he is now playing under Eddie Jordan, compare it to Nate McMillan a year ago in Seattle. Is it the composition of players?
That's what it is, Chuck. It's not the system, because Eddie Jordan would like better ball movement and he'd like to have more guys touch the basketball, but the makeup of his team is not allowing for that right now. And in Seattle, Antonio Daniels, there were a lot of guys that touched the ball. That was a high-scoring team, West Coast style of game. Everybody was getting up and down the floor, so it was a lot easier for him to get his touches.
Well, we have 9 on the clock, and here is Mike James. Charlie B on Antonio Daniels. And Washington in transition with Gilbert Arenas. To Jamison, a couple of All-Stars a season ago, looking to go back to Houston if things fall into place. And if Jamison continues to knock down shots and rebound, he'll probably be in Texas in February. Those two have combined for 20 points.
Raptors looking at the zone right now.
Yep. Graham with a power move, layup. No, but he shoots two. Joey Graham, who has made 18 of his last 19 at the free throw line, will go for 2 more.
Boy, Washington just doing a poor job under man-to-man defense here. Gilbert Arenas just taking a shot, saying, hey, I'll let you beat me. I'm just going to block the shot. Well, you get a foul out doing it that way. And no help coming from the weak side.
So Charlie V getting a break with 10 points, along with 3 assists, couple of boards in 11 minutes. Meantime, Brendan Haywood has picked up his 3rd, and he's going to take a seat on the bench right next to Eddie Jordan.
And, Chuck, that's why you don't want players in your team gambling. You saw Gilbert Arenas. He could be a far better defensive player than he's showing. He's got quickness and strength, but he allowed Joey Graham to put the ball on the floor. As a result, his big man now is going to the bench with fouls.
Well, Brendan Haywood needs a cup of Gatorade there. Gatorade Game X Factor, Villanueva and Brendan Haywood. Leo, you're looking good. There's Charlie V having a drink of Gatorade.
Well, Chuck, you know, every once in a while you get lucky, but...
And how about that? Gilbert Arenas, he had no idea that ball was going. He just flipped it up. He heard the whistle.
Well, and that's what you want to do, Chuck. Regardless, when you hear that whistle, you want to get that ball to the rim, the glass, whatever it may be. But look at his quickness. Just going right in. He's so strong and able to focus in on his target as he releases.
Can I make a confession, Leo?
Sure.
That, you know, he was a great player at Golden State, a very good player, I should say. When the Clippers and Wizards both offered him that 10-year deal, 6 years at $60 million package, $10 million for Gilbert Arenas, you know what? He's worth it.
Well, he's worth it.
By today's NBA standards,
boy.
There is Mike James, long rebound, Daniels.
Now see, wide open, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a 3. Come in a little closer.
Jared Jeffries from Arenas. .47 Wizards. If you're thinking this is early 3rd quarter, folks, it's not. This is 2nd quarter.
Any wager in a halftime score?
I think definitely the 60s. We're looking at a 60-plus first half.
65, 61.
Okay, that sounds good.
Raptors, Wizards.
Well, Jalen Rose will go back to the free throw line. Where the Raptors have now hit 12, 13, so let's see, 13 of 15. They've hit 11 straight.
Well, that's one of the real pluses. They've been doing such a great job at making their free throws. Not only getting there, but making their free throws in the last 3 games.
James had the ball poked out of his hands. Bonner recovers. Swings it. Graham. Get out the umbrellas, Leo. It's Rady Trays here in Washington, D.C. That is number 6. And Joey Graham with a triple.
Well, he's feeling it, Chuck. And Raptors shooting 50% from 3.
Graham came in averaging 21% behind the arc.
You can see the way he shoots the ball, Chuck. Again, he's a better shooter than that percentage would indicate. But you got to get comfortable. You got to find out where your shots come from. And the more aggressive he's been and getting the free throw in other areas. And boy, Eddie Jordan doesn't like this call too much.
No, Courtney Kirkland with a little body English on that call said that Antoine Jamison took a little hop and a skip.
But, you know, the more comfortable Joey Graham is getting, obviously his shot's going to start falling because he proved in college that he can shoot the basketball.
Well, Graham had 9.6 boards against the Nets and really turning it on again tonight here in Washington. A behind-the-back pass, Rose to James. 4 on the clock. Mike's going to have to hustle in traffic and turn it over. It's a 3-on-2. Antonio Daniels exploding to the rim. Caught in the foul. What a play by the veteran from Bowling Green.
That's just a great play. Antonio Daniels going right up. See the way he got the contact first, Chuck? He went right into Matt Bonner because he realized Matt Bonner can't do anything about it. Get the contact and then somehow regain your composure and your balance and be able to make that shot. That's big time effort right there. Chuck, at the other end of the floor, we saw Mike James try to force up a shot and turn the ball over. He had a shooter, Matt Bonner, and a guy that just made his last jump shot, Joey Graham, right on the outside when he penetrated. You got to kick it out. Keep it simple.
Meantime, an 8-second violation, a very rare call we see. And that's a turnover for Toronto. That's number 5. .406 remaining. So you have Bonner, Peterson, Bosch, Calderon on the floor, and Joey Graham. Arenas, Butler, Daniels, Jameson, and Jeffries for Washington. Arenas against Peterson. Splits the defense, and he traveled.
Yeah, good call.
And now Villanueva will re-enter the ball game. After a few minutes of rest, Bonner leads.
See, that's where Gilbert Arenas gets in a little bit of trouble, Chuck. He did that because he can. He's just going to try to do something instead of doing what is the best thing to do on the floor, and that's where he's got to get back to. He's just so good when he plays the right way.
Again, Bosch against Jeffries with a spin and a score. Oh my goodness, CB4 just took Jared Jeffries to school. Bring the books and go back to Indiana.
Yeah, Sam Mitchell clapping. That's exactly what he wants from his big fella. Stop horsing around and just take it.
Wow, that is a big-time NBA move.
Now, that's a tough shot. Joey Graham was right up there at his hand in his face. Jameson still made it. Go right back to Bosch if the Raptors can.
You better believe it. Peterson giving it up to Graham. 8 on the clock. Calderon who has 4 assists on the night. On the drive with a pull-up. Rimming, nope. And the ball hit the top of the board. 53 apiece with 2:56 to go. We'll return in a moment. Sam Mitchell worth the price of admission when we've got the camera on him or what?
Special guest at tonight's game, courtesy of another Arizona Wildcat, Steve Kerr, arranged for tickets for 21 students from Durban High School in South Africa. They're here touring the United States, playing a few basketball games. This is the first tour of South African kids in the post-apartheid era. And 3 of these kids participated in NBA Basketball Without Borders in Africa 2005. Alex English and other members of the Raptors involved in that program. I know Alex has been there many years in succession. So an exciting game for the kids, and they're looking forward to speaking to Mr. English after the game.
And Alex is a very proud man and understands the culture of young men and women looking to get involved not only in sports, but more importantly in the academics and what life is all about. Alex is a very bright man. Have a chance to get to know him over the last couple of years, Leo. He's really a gentleman and a pleasure to be around.
Yes, he is.
This is Bosch misfires. Kept alive by Villanueva, Washington ball. In fact, I was in the workout room today with Alex English.
You worked out?
Yes, I
Come on, Chuck. Oh, you were watching Alex English work out.
7:30 in the morning.
You were talking to Alex English. That's a good workout. I mean, you need to work your lungs out, your voice, your vocal cords.
Daniels, rimming out. Rebound, Bosch to Calderon. He's got Villanueva open, going upstairs, and let him a little bit too much off the fingertips. Charlie B was looking at being on somebody's poster.
Yeah, good idea. Just a little bit too hard, but you got to get back.
Well, I'll tell you, the Wizards are so quick. I mean, they don't even think about looking for a secondary shot. Mo Peterson flipped it up and good off glass.
And I'm going to say it again, Chuck. A couple of weeks ago, he would have flipped it up looking for a foul, not even trying to make the shot. Now he's not looking to foul. He's looking to make the shot. And more often than not, he's been fouled, but just being strong and being aggressive.
Peterson with a game-high 14 with the 3 Raptors in double figures. Jamison off the mark. And this arena, see, it wouldn't surprise me if he just tried to take it to the rim. Stick back jam, Jeffries. You can't allow that to happen.
Well, as soon as that drive is made, you've got to get rotation. And again, one of the things the Raptors did exceptionally well at the end of the New Jersey game, everybody became a rebounder and took a man and got in there on the glass.
And almost a steal as the Raptors telegraphed that pass, and Sam Mitchell telling Jose Calderon, go get the ball. Don't wait for the ball to come to you.
Sam very animated. He wants to make sure he's got certain things he wants Calderon to do, and he's been very hard on him, but trying to teach him how to be an NBA player.
Here's Jose.
See, it works, Chuck. It works.
Red Sea.
Sam saying, all you got to do is listen to me, son, and you're going to be okay in this league.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Eddie Jordan, you cannot allow that type of defense to occur with your team.
Chuck, this game tape will not be used for defensive purposes.
And this is Arenas. Good. What did you say, Leo? It's starting to sound like I'm saying,
when I said that, I didn't just mean Washington. I mean, this game tape, period, will not be used for defensive purposes, at least the first half. Hopefully the second half will hold a little bit more.
See, Leo, I got a theory about this. Here is Bosh, layup. Got it.
Well, that's the best theory you can have right there.
Yeah.
Bosh. You Bosh the ball, you will probably score. It's a pretty good theory.
See, if Wayne Embry, who's the assistant to Richard Petty, is watching right now, in his day, somebody would be on the floor right now, okay? You get an easy layup. I don't think that's happening.
Oh, absolutely.
Wayne Embry, of course, was a terrific player with the Boston Celtics, Cincinnati Royals.
He's a big fella, too. I don't think I'd want to get elbow from Wayne Embry
right now. He's in the Hall of Fame as an architect with the Bucks and Cavs. 5 seconds remaining. Calderon swatted away by Jeffries. I can't believe that wasn't goaltending. I cannot believe that was not goaltending. And Jose is saying, I don't care, EuroLeague, NBA, that's goaltending.
And the Raptors are getting involved. Let's take another look right here, Chuck.
That is goaltending.
That was close. That was close. Oh.
What do you think? I mean,
that ball may have touched the glass first. And here, let's take one more look at it, see if we can catch it. Let's see how tough it is. We're looking at this for 30. Yeah, it's definitely goaltending.
That's why we pay you the big bucks, Leo.
Yeah, well, we need that third look, Chuck.
Great camera work. We appreciate it. Forbes, Finn Robertson, Dan Gladman, along with
Chuck, take a look at this.
Jose Calderon.
Now, you talk about the impact of Jose Calderon compared to other point guards that come into the NBA. Look at his numbers. He's done exceptionally well, especially in the assist column, distributing the basketball. Some guys have put up a few more points. Look back at Steve Nash at the bottom. His rookie year. It was a struggle, Chuck. Tony Parker, he came into San Antonio a lot like Jose Calderon, a lot of international experience, and you can see his numbers, but on a great team. So considering what people have done, and look at Calderon's numbers, really have an outstanding year.
And I spoke to Jose prior to the ball game, and I said, when you grew up, who did you idolize? Was it Stockton Magic? He says, Elmer Bennett. I said, Elmer Bennett, who played at Notre Dame? He goes, Chuck, this guy played in Spain when I was a little kid. I idolized him because he passed the ball.
Exactly. That's what you'll find with a lot of these players. There's players that play over in Europe that were maybe great college players who really excelled, and that's where a lot of these guys picked up their game from.
Charlie V. Bucket! What a play! Calderon to Charlie Villanueva. Big smooth at the buzzer. 61-59 Raptors at halftime. Give Charlie V 12 and Calderon his 5th dime.
Confident shot right there.
But he gave Charlie the pass where he could do something with it right in just above the belt.
That's right. Led him.
They're not going for a replay. They're going to put 1 second on the clock.
1/10 on the clock and play. No replay.
Louis Grillo told everybody stay on the floor, and here they're not worried about the shot. They know the shot's good. but they're putting 1 second on the clock, and they're giving Washington the ball.
Yeah, 1/10 of a second.
Yeah, 1/10.
That was a money shot by Charlie V, 5 for 7. And that will end the half. 61-59. We were close. We got one team in the 60s, the right team.
Well, the right team. Raptors, outstanding job offensively. They're going to have to find a way to slow down Washington, who's still playing at home, Chuck, and you got to find a way to pick up the D.
Well, Jarvis Hayes started the ball game, and he was unbelievable. Got off to a nice start with 12 points in 15 minutes.
Well, Jarvis Hayes did a real nice job taking advantage of opportunities. Shot over the smaller Mike James and Jose Calderon, so was able to get it going, but the Raptors were able to keep them toned down a little bit in that second quarter.
Well, if you like offense, folks, you want to stick around on the Score television network.
Dining on some up and down basketball. Toronto with a 2-point lead at the half, and with assistant coach Jim Todd. And Jim, I know you've said in the past that the first one to play defense wins. Will that sort of be the case tonight?
I'm not so sure. Hopefully, that's what we talked about. Some team has to put defense in this game. It's like we played the Clippers recently. Their whole thing is the first guy to 100. We could go by that in the third quarter. So, we talk about trusting your teammate on defense. It's something we talk about all the time. We got to get up on our guys. Right now, we're kind of laying back on our heels. Got to get up, make them put the ball down, and then try to step in and pick up the charge. So that's something we talked about at the half. Second half, we got to get some offensive rebounds and get us some easy baskets inside. See if we can play some defense on those three, hopefully on their three shooters, or maybe they can get cold. We were on them a little bit, but they were hot as a firecracker in the first quarter. I think they shot over 60-something%. They cooled down a little. We need them to cool down a lot more.
All right, thanks. All right, the Raptors trying to cool off the Wizards, but no complaints on their offensive end. Chris Bosh and Mo Peterson leading all scorers with 13 and 14 points, respectively. Chuck?
And they've gone to the line 15 times for the Toronto Raptors, our IBM winning strategies.
Chuck, coming into this game, we talked about different things the Raptors are going to have to do. We talked about continuing to work the line. Well, you just mentioned the free throws. Raptors not only getting there, but making their free throws. Bosh 7 of 8. Hit the magic numbers. Toronto 50% in each quarter, and that's the key right now. They have to make sure that they continue to shoot the ball the way they're doing, but they have to find a way to bring Washington back down below 50% and keep Arenas out of the paint. Arenas, 15 points, 5 assists in the game, couple turnovers. But Chuck, the positives for Toronto, they're +7 in points off of turnovers, +4 in free throws made, and their bench 25-11 over the Wizards.
Our President's Choice halftime stats.
Well, there you go. 11 points off of turnovers for Toronto. Washington has 11 fast break points, but look at all those numbers and throw them out. If Washington continues to shoot 57%, that's going to be a big, big problem.
So Arenas pressured by James. And Jeffries had a very soft half with 7. Brings it out high, taking Bosh away near the rim to space it out for the Washington offense, and a quick foul on Rafael Araujo, who played 7 first-half minutes. No rebounds and a bucket.
Well, the other person who's got to get up on the glass, too, is Chris Bosh. 2 rebounds, no offensive rebounds. Block on Brendan Haywood.
Yep, good defense by Hoffa, who did not leave his feet, and that's the 3rd traveling violation against Washington tonight. Our third quarter brought to you by Hyundai. For the Wizards, that's their 8th turnover. They've been doing a sensational job this year preventing miscues, averaging only 13 per game. That's 4th best in the association. And that's Chris with his patented turnaround. It popped out. Washington ball. What do you think, Leo? First team to 120 wins? There's Brendan Haywood. Got the ball very deep in the paint.
Well, too deep. That's where Hoffa's got to use his body, be physical, make him the first catch. When he catches the ball, has got to be a lot further away from the basket.
They go inside once again to Bosh. Getting plenty of touches tonight. Calderon for 3. Rimmed out. He had 2 against the Nets Saturday night. Hayes threw it away, right into the midst of Rafael Araujo.
Yeah, but see what Hoffa did there, he pushed on Haywood, he pushed him out a little bit further and then just stepped around him. As long as you're aggressive, good things will happen.
James on a screen and roll. He's got Bosch open. They swing it to Peterson with 7 on the clock. Stops, pops, fires, miss. Rebound Jeffries.
So right now, everything on the perimeter, all deep shots for Toronto. They scored 16 points in the paint in that second quarter, Chuck, after only 4 in the first. Got to get back to that.
And you talk about a shooter's touch. Jamison and 1 in the foul against Mo Pete. So again, the tandem of Bosch and Villanueva certainly carving up not only the paint but also the stat sheet.
Twin Towers. Didn't we have a question we asked about that, Chuck?
Yes, we did.
26 points between them, but the rebound numbers have to increase, especially on Bosch's side. Charlie usually comes in and gets it going in the offensive board, but Bosch has got to get it done on both boards. And usually when he has a quiet first half rebounding wise, he does step it up and get his numbers up there.
22nd timeout for Toronto. I think we got to get Charlie B a bubblegum deal. You know, LeBron has a bubblegum deal. I think Charlie B's always working that gum, blowing bubbles.
You know what I'm amazed at, though? I'm amazed. Sam's getting on these guys right now. He's basically saying, hey, we talked about the defense at halftime. We talked about being aggressive, but how do you come out in the third quarter and just take perimeter shots? You have to get the ball inside, and you got to be aggressive, and you got to attack the rim. Check out Charlie B in the first half. Getting that little jump shot going. Very confident. Just outside the lane, in the lane.
We had the Baker brothers thing going.
Well, I was just about to get to that, and we'll just finish up with Charlie here. You see, that's one of the reasons the Raptors had that 16 points in the paint. But, you know, now that you're hearing this Twin Towers thing, Chuck, last thing they need is Jarvis Hayes to keep going. But now that we're hearing this Twin Towers thing, I just know that that's a promotional event for you to get T-shirts out there.
Peterson, he forced it up. And
did you ever make any money off the Banger Brothers?
No, you know, Lonnie Baxter is with the Houston Rockets. And so I'll have to see Lonnie.
So, but there's a glimmer in your eye right now with this Twin Towers thing, isn't it?
More so with the bubblegum, I think.
Now, what happens? The Raptors go inside a little bit, Chuck.
Yes.
Trip to the free throw line. It's a pretty simple formula. It's amazing to me that players within the same game, within the same quarter, Chuck, just kind of forget what works and what they can exploit when they're on the floor. You really have to stay focused in the ball game, and that's what great teams do. They just don't get away from all the things that are effective. Sam Mitchell wants his guys to stay focused, but also realizes with young guys, you're going to drift and you're going to lose focus at times, and he's got to rein them back in.
Jeffries in the paint, and he draws the foul. It's going to be a long ball game, folks. A lot of fouls, a lot of scoring, stoppages of play.
Well, watch Hoffa right here. See that late reaction. Yep. You see that guy's putting the ball on the floor, especially a big guy. When a big guy puts his head down and starts dribbling, just take that big step, get there and wait for him. And remember one of the things Jim Todd talked about? Trust. Trust that your teammates, when you step over there, will step behind you and cover your man. That's one of the things Jim Todd, as we see right there, stressed in that halftime along with Sam Mitchell. And that's where Hoffa's got to get there and be the guy, the first trust guy, and trust that somebody will be behind him.
Well, I have another prediction for you, Mr. Rollins. If the Raptors go on and win this game, it will be done at the free throw line. Washington, 9 of 16, 56%. The Raptors, 15 of 17. They made 14 in a row.
Okay.
In a close game, you've got to hit your free throws. Bosch, no. Rebound tapped out. Calderon runs it down.
I think those opportunities are there, Chuck. Washington is trying to get away. They're trying to get out and run. They're not staying in. There's some offensive rebounding opportunities available.
Bosch got hammered, and he will go to the stripe. Appearances number 9 and 10. Remember, he went to the line 16 times Saturday against New Jersey.
Said this last game. Said this the game before. I'm going to say it again here. Can Jamison cover Chris Bosch?
No.
Can Jeffries cover Bosch?
No. Or Calvin Booth. They use three different
Calvin
players
Booth
on him
definitely
tonight.
can. He's a no-go on this one. Can Brendan Haywood cover Bosch? No. Give him the ball. And if you're Chris Bosch, attack. Don't wait. When that ball comes to you, don't sit there, look around, think about it. Attack. Turn, put the ball on the floor, and go.
So, well, by the way, the popcorn has
no hesitation. Buttered popcorn. We don't waste time.
No hesitation. Just like Bosch. Give him the ball. Give Leo the popcorn.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
That's the first pass you made all game. That's your second. Chocolate chip cookies, please. Excellent. Excellent
that's right.
job.
Do I take care of you or what?
Yes, you do.
Thank you. All right, here is Jeffries to Jamison. Now Arenas, a hard bank shot. Arenas tonight, 5 of 9, 15 points. He's always capable of going off though. And Bosch again. I love the game plan by the Raptors. Nobody can stop Bosch. Hoffa with an offensive putback. That'll help his confidence.
See the offensive rebounding now. Raptors are starting to get some offensive rebounds, and Hoffa just going up strong, using that body.
The Raptors had 14 offensive boards opening night in the loss to Washington. I'm sure that was on the blackboard.
Well, Washington faces, they face a lot of similar problems the Raptors do as far as rebounding. They have length, Chuck, and their quickness. They have quickness, but they can get pushed around a little bit, and the Raptors have to realize that and try to be aggressive.
Here's Jeffries, flies in, pick and roll off the Raptor turnover. In fact, the Wizards have scored 11 points off 9 Raptor TOs. Leo, Eddie Jordan is screaming at his team. The ball's going to Bosch. Here's Mo off the bounce. Got it.
Nice job of drawing that first defender, Chuck, putting the ball on the floor. 6 of 8 now for Mo Pete.
18. Here's Arenas. I think at times Gilbert Arenas, as good of a player he is, Leo, I think he is already determined, even before he gets the ball, he's going to shoot.
Again, yeah, that's what I talked about earlier. He does things because he wants to do them as opposed to that they're the right things to do.
James now 2 for 7, Washington ball, and we have a blocking call on the baseline against Mo Pete. That's going to be number 3.
One of the things that people don't realize, or not many people realize about Mo Pete, Chuck, we're seeing an offensive game. He's 6 of 8. He's doing a good job, but he's also responsible on a nightly basis to shut people down. A lot of times, the best offensive player on the other team, whether it be a shooting guard, small forward, and he's got to do it every single night.
He's done a fine job tonight, for that matter, on the entire road swing that took us to Atlanta and New Jersey. Here's Chris from 19.
Chris is settling for jumpers right now, Chuck.
Courtney Kirkland has called a foul on Bosch. That's going to be number 2.
It's tough, too, when you're coaching a player like Chris Bosch because he can make that shot, and you want him to be comfortable and know that he can shoot the ball from the perimeter. That's one of his great weapons.
Yeah, but he can get that shot anytime.
Right, and that's the fine line you walk as the coach. You want to encourage him to attack, and you want to tell him, hey, Chris, you can beat these guys. You can put the ball on the floor. You can get to the free throw line. And then he'll take a shot like that, and you really don't want him to do it, but in some ways he's got to be comfortable and know that those shots can be taken where he can keep the defense honest.
And this is Hayward going to the line for the first time in the ball game, not known as a great free throw shooter, only 57%, as the Wizards have missed 7 tosses in the ball game, and yet lead 71-68. Raptors going with James, Peterson, Bosch, Hoffa, along with Calderon. Calderon almost lost control, giving it up to Peterson now. With 9 on the clock, they have Bosch playing on the wing. Draws a double team, trying to take the ball out of his hands. Partially blocked, and we've got a loose ball foul on Hoffa.
Well, again, comes down to,
do you want Chris closer to the rim?
I would want Chris to be decisive. When he's playing around, taking a couple of dribbles, not sure what he's going to do, that allows his defender and the held defense to lock in on him, and then you have a real problem. And he's got to understand one of his biggest advantages is quickness. but let's put this in perspective. You know, he's still a young player. He's still learning. He's doing so many great things for Toronto. And there's so many expectations on his game. Right now, 0 for 5 in this quarter, but he's going to get a little help right now, especially around the basket with Charlie V coming back into the game. Hoffa catching a breather.
4 personal fouls, 4 points, couple of boards. 72-68 Wizards. At the 6:10 mark, third quarter here in Washington, D.C. Good to have you with us on the Score Television Network. Here is Bosch working on Haywood. Layup good.
Now, did you see that move, Chuck?
Yes.
No hesitation. He caught the ball, just said, boom, I'm gone.
Yep.
And that's when he scores. That's when he becomes an elite player and untouchable.
I mean, he can get that like your wife shops at Nordstrom all night long. I mean, come on. And this is Haywood again on Charlie Villanueva. No tip, no loose ball foul. I think they called this on Toronto. Luis Frio has called this on Peterson.
Mo Pete doing whatever he can to keep Jamison off the glass. Got the foul instead.
Yep, and that's number 4 on Mo Pete.
Chuck, I'll have to agree with you on that. There was a lot of contact, but it went both ways. Mo Pete obviously upset over this call. Look at him on the screen here. Mo Pete boxing out, Jamison trying to go around, both players fighting one another. You could make that a call on either side. And in my opinion, you just let it go. But the officials obviously trying to, one, control the game. And sometimes there's pressure to make a call when you see 2 players go down like that. But in my opinion, you could have called that one either way, so let it go.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the NBA.
Well, and what people don't realize, again, with Mo Peterson covering Jamison, Chuck, Jamison was a power forward. Remember at North Carolina? This guy was a big-time rebounder, played around the basket. Comes to the NBA, he's got to face the basket. He's done a great job of adjusting, but he still has those skills. And Mo Pete in college, he wasn't guarding power forwards. So tough task to keep him off the glass.
So with Peterson on the bench with 4 fouls, Sam Mitchell is called on Joey Graham. Villanueva with a jump hook. And then he commits a foul in backcourt on Arenas. So for Villanueva, that's going to be his 3rd, and we're going to go the other way shooting free throws. And in a sense, that's a blessing for the Raptors because Washington only 13 of 22. Wow.
Yeah. Almost shooting the same from the field, Chuck, as they are from the free throw line. Eddie Jordan, as any coach would, hates to see these opportunities missed.
Now, maybe I'm a little bit too hard with this upcoming statement, Leo. This is the 2nd time we've seen Washington, and I know they have a lot of new faces. That's 10 missed free throws for Eddie Jordan's team. They missed Larry Hughes so badly. They had some great mojo and chemistry working a year ago.
Well, that's just it. They have talent, but it's the chemistry.
Look at Ernie Grunfeld. Yeah. He's going bananas.
Yeah, a little bit upset. He goes, hey, I can make free throws right now. Right now, I can come down there and make free throws.
Leo, I think this club is on the bubble for a playoff spot in the East.
Yes, they are. And they're very concerned about where this team's going at this point, Chuck, and they have to put some sort of a string together.
Here's Villanueva from downtown. Haywood with a box down, and the Wizards in control, leading by 4 with under 5 minutes to go. I mean, do you see this as a playoff team in the East?
Well, Chuck, the one thing about the East, you look at the Central Division, there's a lot of, it's ridiculous what's happening there, how tough and competitive it is. And you look at the rest of the East, Chuck, and you can say, hey, there's a lot of teams that could be in the playoffs in the East. Eddie Jordan realizes, and I get the feeling from talking to the coaching staff of the Wizards, they'll be happy right now with this group until they can find that chemistry. If they can win one, lose one, whatever, just stay in that 500 area and hopefully get a little string of games together here and there and creep in there. There's enough talent here, but again, chemistry is the key.
That's Tom Young sitting right next to Eddie Jordan, and he coached Eddie Jordan at Rutgers. He's a very wise man, solid basketball individual.
Oh, they have a lot of good guys on their staff. Michael Korn as well.
Michael Korn's going to be a head coach one day.
That's right. A lot of respect for Michael Korn.
But Tom Young, he adds so much to this coaching staff. With a vast experience on the bench. Here's Mike James with a spin on the baseline. And Mike James now is 2 for 8. And that's an offensive foul on Gilbert Arenas. They're going to
Willie Grillo saying that Arenas grabbed the arm of Mike James as he was trying to reach and go for the ball. Take a look at this one, see what we can see here.
You make the call.
Again, you know what, Chuck? That's one of those calls where you almost feel pressure to make a call because there's obvious contact. Now, if you're the ball handler,
contact underneath the rim.
I understand that, but it's a little different in the open floor, Chuck. There's a lot of jostling and banging around the basket, but in the open floor, there's more often than not you're going to get a call.
I say let them play.
Could have a crazy game if you just let everybody play. That's why the officials kind of have to pick and choose what they call to keep control of the game.
60s, Leo. You think they blew the whistle every contact foul?
Well, they wouldn't. Nice job there. Raptors going inside.
Yeah. Charlie Villanueva with 14. Here's Arenas coming off the screen. Bucket. See, Leo, you and I have a different view of the game.
You go way back, Chuck. You've gone all the way. You go all the way back to the Civil War. I mean, you go way back.
Here's Charlie with a floater. Rim down.
Rumor has it there's pictures of you from back then.
For the Union Army. Leo.
Chuck, there's a lot of photos of you out there. I know that. I know that.
Well,
I'm trying to protect you.
With the internet, are you kidding me? There is no protection. When you go on eBay, you can find Leo Robinson's Syracuse Orange. Arenas with a laying off window. And Sam Mitchell, I wonder if he's going to take a time here. Is this game getting a little bit stretched out now for the Wizards, and that's exactly what the coach is going to do.
Dangerous territory right now for Toronto.
3:17 remaining third from MCI DC. Let's go with our Hyundai drive to the playoffs. And again, we are looking at leading scores. Allen Iverson, 34 game. Then Kobe, we're going to see Kobe tomorrow at the Air Canada Center. They're playing the Bucks right now, pouring in 32 a contest, and you got Gilbert Arenas fourth.
Kobe Bryant, boy, how about a number of games he shot the ball over 30 times? I think it's somewhere around 8.
But Leo,
but Gilbert Arenas putting up big numbers here for Washington, and right now his team doing the job in the paint, Chuck. 10 points scored in the paint in this quarter alone.
Jalen Rose on the floor. Bosch, Villanueva, Calderon, and Graham. Bosch, no. Chris struggling here in the third. He is 1 for 8. Jeffries, Arenas, and fouled by Graham. What's going on here in the third, Leo, for people who just joined us?
Well, Washington just a little bit more aggressive, Chuck, to getting in the paint. They scored, again, 10 points in the paint in this quarter alone. The Raptors cooling off considerably. They're down to 43% shooting, whereas the Wizards have maintained that 56% pace. And that just tells you your defense is not getting it done.
Arenas shooting 80% on the season, but very uncharacteristic of his shooting ability from the foul line. Now 4 of 8. When you see him get the ball, he does the around-the-world wraparound. He spins the ball.
Well, the key is a routine. You know, everybody has to have, I recommend it highly for any single player, have a routine, something that helps you do what you're supposed to do at the free throw line, that makes you comfortable. So it doesn't matter whether you're at the MCI Center or at the park down the street. You have your routine and you're comfortable at the line.
81-72 Wizards. Graham. Charlie B. against Jamison. Double team. 3 on the clock. Calderon. What a slashing move by the Rook from Spain. Arenas. No. Offensive putback. Jamison. Yes.
He's so good around the bucket. Again, I'll refer to his North Carolina days. He was a power forward, an All-American power forward that made a living around the basket.
Jose to choke. Well, the kids hook it up.
Saying that, I got a feeling you're going to be saying that over the years, Chuck.
I think you're right.
Jose to Charlie.
I mean, Villanueva with 16 points in 19 minutes off the bench. Calderon with 7 assists, Leo. here's Jose Calderon again. Lead pass down the floor. Joey Graham to the cup. No. Calderon with the cleanup off glass.
Jose just getting involved in everything there. Bosch trying to get in there, fighting, keeping it alive, and Jose cleaning it up.
Yep.
Never give up, Chuck. When you see a guy going down for a layup, never take for granted that shot's going in. The Raptors didn't do it, and they got a bucket out of it.
I just love the excitement and enthusiasm of these young kids. And Arenas with a charge. Yep.
Well, right now, the Raptors starting to pick up that defense as well. Give Jose credit. Joey Graham, great job getting position.
And
take a look. Joey Graham driving it at the defender. Keep Bosch keeping it alive as you'd like to do on the glass. And Jose Calderon just following it up, saying, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yep. Graham way off the mark.
Yeah, pulled that one, Chuck. Didn't follow through.
This is where Jamison can really take over a game when he feels he's got that look.
Well, the scary part about Washington, Chuck, we talk about their struggles, but Jamison, Arenas, these are two guys that can carry the team and take over a game. And Eddie Jordan knows if he can keep it close and get the ball in their hands, a lot of good things can happen.
Jamison now in his 8th year out of North Carolina, as you know, drafted by the Raptors and swapped for the rights with Vince Carter on draft day, along with cash considerations going to Toronto. Leo, first 5 years in the league, people would probably say Carter, Jamison, easily Vince Carter the better player. You ask most people now, would you rather have Jamison or Vince Carter? What would they say?
Well, I think you still might get a toss-up, Chuck, but I really like Antoine Jamison because the fact that he's a worker. He's a guy that just continually gets better. He seems to get better every season. He's a great locker room guy. That's the one thing that Wizards were so impressed when they got him from Golden State. He was impressive in the locker room, helping these guys out.
Calderon gets a breather as Jamison just misfired. He's 7 of 12. He's got a double-double of 17 points, 10 boards. At 7 double-doubles in his last 8 games. Derek Martin now on the court. Late third quarter. Graham with a power move. No, but he will shoot too.
He's been looking to do a lot more of that. He wasn't trying to do as much of that early on. But he has the strength and that quickness. Turning the corner right here. He looked at the defense, and he does a great job of protecting himself. He protects the ball and kind of spreads those wings out to try to clear himself a little room. He's not as tall as you might think. Only stands about 6'5", maybe 6'6", but very strong.
That free throw pops out as Peterson looking on. Mo has enjoyed a fine night with 18 points and 5 rebounds in 22 minutes.
Now he's just itching to get back out there.
Now Joey was listed, what, about 6'7" at Oklahoma State?
Definitely, that's with sneakers, right?
Are you saying in college they fib a little bit in those sports information guides?
There's a lot of fibbing all over the place.
That's right, they had you listed at 7'3".
Well, you know what they say about the Chicago Combine, don't you, where the players go down there and get evaluated? You go to Chicago and you lose an inch.
And at the end of 3, 83-79 Wizards. Anyone's ball game here in Washington, D.C. Let's see what Sam Mitchell and Eddie Jordan can conjure up as we go to the court. Minute. Boy, what's going on with those Rockets? Wow, that's another story for another day.
That's right. A lot of rumors about Jeff Van Gundy over in Houston. See the numbers. Raptors fading with their field goal percentage. Just 7 of 22 in the third quarter, whereas the Wizards are staying hot above 53%. 8 of 15 free throws. That's helped out the Raptors, missing some free throws. But again, points in the paint. Wizards making a big dent around the bucket.
And Anton Thomas now on the floor. His first appearance of the evening. Big post player, 6'10".
From where?
Syracuse. Thank you. His 5th year. On the baseline, Villanueva over at Thomas, and Thomas with a board. He's a guy, Leo, that we talked about prior to the ball game. I thought he was going to have a terrific NBA career. It just has not developed.
Well, he's had a lot of injuries, Chuck, since coming into the NBA. He's really had a tough time staying healthy. And also, it really spends a lot of time focusing on getting bigger and stronger. And I remember Roosevelt Bowie, a former Syracuse player, advised him to try to worry about getting it just a little bit quicker, less bulk, and start worrying about the quickness aspect of your game.
Very sensitive guy. He's written a book on poetry.
Well, you know, Chuck, would you expect anything less from a Syracuse grad?
Very thought-provoking and also a good dunker.
See, there you go. Poetry and slam dunks.
You saying that you're recommending that as next book?
Yeah, it's Chuck. I'm just telling you, that's that well-rounded Syracuse guy.
Have you ever written any poems, Leo?
Absolutely, Chuck. I'll share them with you one day.
Are you a hopeless romantic?
You could call me that.
Bonner, Joey B, a curl and a foul on the floor. I mean, Leo, we are learning so much about you tonight. The comparisons with you and the Tom.
No, not comparisons. It's just this Syracuse background, that well-rounded, sound mind, sound body type of mentality.
Yes.
Something you never saw at Michigan.
Well, I'll tell you something. You're going to look at Chris Bosh now as Villanueva goes to the bench. And Tom Thomas better bring his A game. He's going to play very physical against Bosh. And Tom Thomas comes up with a steal. He went around the left shoulder of Chris Bosh and came up with a pick. Here's Arenas for three. And Thomas almost came up with a rebound. Our fourth quarter brought to you by Raptors NBA TV. Oh, Bosh turned the corner and a soft layup.
Boy, Chuck, he wanted that one back. He said, hey, you guys knocked the ball away from him, but I'm coming right back at you. That was about as aggressive a move as we've seen from Chris tonight.
Yep. After a difficult third quarter where he went 1 for 8, he makes the hoop here. And this is Jamison for three. We're going to have a loose ball foul, and they're going to keep it right here. Jalen Rose. That's going to be Rose's second. Rose, 1 for 5 of the ball game with 3 points, 1 board, and 2 assists.
Well, you know Jalen Rose can get some shots, Chuck, but if he wants to stay in the game, he's really got to help his team out defensively and on the glass.
Here's Jamison from the corner. Their shot selection.
Well, it's
They're
not
playing
great.
right to the Raptors' hands. Plenty of time remaining. 9:40 to go. Calderon with a carry. Yep.
I'm not going to argue that call, Chuck.
But everyone does that, Leo.
Right.
I mean,
And he didn't go anywhere on that carry. There was no...
That's right. He didn't beat his man off the dribble.
No real advantage gained.
Exasperated head coach Sam Mitchell watching his team commit their 9th turnover, and Tom Thomas could not finish an easy layup. Here is Bonner. Rainbow three. Nothing but nylon for the Red Rockets.
Mitchell looking at Matt saying, see, I told you, shoot the thing. You got your shot, you got to take it.
3-ball number 7 for the Raptors. Wizards by 1. In the first quarter, we showed you our Ford Fusion create a reaction. And we put 3 pictures of the Raptors with a quote. Bosh, Bonner, or Villanueva, and that's Charlie B.
Okay, hold on. I'll say Matt Bonner and Charlie B. Does that remind you of the Twin Towers? Nah. Okay. Matt Bonner and Chris Bosh. Twin Towers? Nah. Okay, Charlie B. and Chris Bosh.
Thing I love about this Villanueva and Bosh together, very skilled. They love playing ball, Leo. They love basketball, and they're both 21.
Mm-hmm. And they play well together, Chuck. Villanueva is an outstanding passer, and he does a lot of good things to get the spots where he can play off of Chris and also find Chris with his passing.
Too easy with Arenas. And the pitch out, Jeffries. That play was actually set up underneath the rim. Jeffries going to get credit for the hoop, but it was Arenas who found it.
Yeah, he did a great job, but that's a shot I'd like to see Jeffries shoot more, Chuck. He can score. I think he just is so passive sometimes that it takes a lot away from his game.
And Calderon stepped on the inline out of bounds.
See, those are the turnovers the Raptors really have to be careful of. They did a great job in the first half not turning the ball over, and they only have 10 for the game, but just don't want to have to start getting in this situation right now where you're wasting possessions.
That's Calderon's 3rd turnover on the night. Daniels, with 7 on the clock, and this is Jeffries. He likes the matchup with Bonner on the baseline. Double on the ball, and a foul.
Yeah, didn't really need the foul. The Raptors did a real good job of making Jeffries turn. The shot he was going to take was going to be a tough one. And remember, he has a reluctance to shoot the basketball, so make him shoot right here. Jalen's just a little too aggressive coming in to help out.
So again, Jeffries at 57% from the free throw line. Their bigs just can't make free throws, Leo, even though Jeffries makes the first. I mean, Haywood is shooting 57%. Thomas is shooting 55%.
Makes a big difference, as we've seen with the Raptors. It really helps when your big guys are making free throws and they miss another one. But that hurts right there. You don't get the rebound.
No. Jamison made the Raptors pay. The miss, the offensive rebound, the putback, and a foul.
Well, Chuck, Jamison's got 11 boards in this game. Done a great job of sneaking in on the offensive board. He's helped out in the defensive glass. 6 assists as well in the ballgame.
And Jamison, another follow-up. Are you kidding me?
Raptors big break right there. Huge break. Just, you can't do that. You can't fall asleep and not pick. Somebody's got to take the shooter every time a free throw is taken.
Rose. And that is a foul on the floor, and Luis Grillo has pulled it against.
Well, you can see the scouting report right now. Antonio Daniels is getting that call. And was there a push at the end by Rose? Yes, but Antonio Daniels was riding him early, well before Rose pushed off. Look at right here. See, he's riding him right now. Actually, Rose ended up keeping that arm tight to his body, so good call by the official.
Bonner to Bosch. And Thomas playing him tight. Ball slapped out of his hands. And the Raps turn it over with Arenas. He's out of control. Keeps his dribble alive. And now they settle down as Jamison. They don't believe in working the clock, do they? Here's Jalen. Bam! Boom! Shakalaka and Jalen Rose.
Wow.
3 balls galore for the Raptors. That's number 8.
Well, Jalen Rose just 2 of 6 in a game. That was a big, big shot for Toronto.
Arenas off the Jeffrey screen to the rim and a score.
Chuck, he gets in gaps. You just don't think he can get there.
Good point.
So quick, and even when there's contact, he just absorbs it. It's almost like a running back going through a hole.
It's like his father was running back at Miami, Florida. Those gaps between the guarding tackles. In this case, between Bosch, Graham, and Bonner.
Just love the way he sees that opening and just attacks it.
10 on the shot clock. Calderon receives the pass from Joey Graham. Here's Jose giving it up to Bonner on the pump from 16. Good.
That's perfect use of the dribble. Matt Bonner made his last 3-point attempt. He knows people are going to run at him. Just give it a little fake. And nice, easy dribble. Just get to the open spot.
On a clear out. Arenas giving it up. Jamison. Weak side rebound, Jalen Rose.
Good time to find Chris Bosch now, Chuck.
And it's on Thomas. Deflected that and taken by Jamison, but he stepped on the sideline out of bounds.
That pass just a little short. Got to get it up there a little higher, especially early in the possession. Good idea by Jalen Rose. See that pass just a little bit higher. Throw it towards the rim. But again, by throwing that early in a possession, you also saw Jeffries coming in. Mo Peterson still chomping at the bit, waiting to get in.
Here's Jose to Jalen. Battle for the rebound, and it's Jamison. Jarvis Hayes, who lit up the Raptors in the first quarter, cannot fire a bucket in the last 3 periods.
And Jalen Rose doing a good job of helping out on the defensive board, Chuck. Actually, him and Jose Calderon both have stepped up and grabbed a few rebounds.
And it's time for Bosch to take over. Chris, and the ball knocked out of his hands. Down the court, Gilbert Arenas. Jamison, air. And Arenas is still down. Calderon whips it. Bonner bobble the ball, picks it up and scores.
Smart play. Smart play by Jose Calderon. Matt Bonner 2 for 2. Give him another shot.
The Raptor reserves outscoring the bench of the Wizards 40-15. Welcome back to Washington, D.C. And I think it's safe to say, Leo, that you won the case of Gatorade tonight. You took Charlie B. I selected Brendan Haywood.
Well, again, Chuck, we talk about playing on the floor. We talk about poetry. We talk about making some, educated choices.
Yes.
And again, I'll refer to the Syracuse education and Charlie B., a fellow Big East member at UConn, stepping up and making some good shots and getting some good rebounds. And Brendan Haywood,
he's just
falling a little short for you, Chuck.
Yes, he has.
That happens.
Well, we have 5:05 remaining. The Wizards 92 and the Raptors 91. Arenas. Nope. Washington has gone cold here in the fourth quarter. They are 4-15. Raptors looking to take the lead right here. Bonner has been hot. Peterson off the bench, giving it up to Chris Bosch. Turn it around
right
and
there.
a foul.
Good call by the official. Right on the wrist of Chris Bosch. Chuck, right now, Gilbert Arenas is really gambling. He's taking a lot of chances. You don't need to take those chances down the stretch of a game. If Calderon continues to penetrate, put the ball on the floor, he's going to create opportunities where this defense is going to be rotating, and that ball can end up in the hands of Chris Bosch or one of his teammates for some pretty good looks.
Arenas is 3 for 10 here in the second half as Bosch at the free throw line is now 8 of 10. We got to correct that. I don't think that's right. Another toss coming up for Bosch. He is 10 of 12 now. Thank you. 20 points, 6 boards for Bosch. Raptors 93, Wizards 92. Jamison on a screen and roll. That's no good. Jamison continues to struggle. He is now 1 for 8 here in the quarter. And Joey Graham with a soft flipped up and in.
Good pass by Mo Peterson, Chuck. Raptors making that extra pass, finding the open man.
Yep. 8-0 run for Toronto.
You can see the look of confidence right now by Toronto. Tough move there by Arenas, but guys are coming together, Chuck. They really appear to have a good look on their face right now. They're going after it. Good to see.
Raptors trying for their 3rd straight win for the first time since February of last season. Now Calderon dribbling, comes up shooting, got it! Oh my goodness, what a play just inside the three-point arc. Jose Calderon now with 8 points and 11 assists.
Well, he's taking advantage of Arenas, Chuck. Arenas is either trying to take chances or he's just completely staying off him and let him shoot the ball. Has the confidence right there. He's showing that he may give it up at one end, he'll just come right back at the other end, but that's not the way you want to play the game.
Raptor ball, 7 of 9 from the floor here in the fourth quarter. We are at the 3-minute mark. Calderon turns the quarter to Joey Graham. Shot partially blocked by Tom Thomas, and Bosch is fouled in the paint.
A heads-up play by Chris Bosch. Get that ball.
We're going to have a timeout. Chris will go back to the line. Free throws number 13 and 14. That'll give him 30 in the past 2 games. Welcome back to Washington, D.C. Chuck Swirsky, Leo Rounds, Norma Wick, our President's Choice. Raptors bowl next 4 games, all on Rogers Sports Day, including tomorrow, 7 o'clock at the ACC. Hope to see you there. Kobe and the Lakers, their only appearance of the season, on the road at Charlotte, home with the Bulls and home with the Golden State Warriors. Jose Calderon, how about toying with a possible triple-double of 8 points, 8 boards, and 11 assists.
He's doing a nice job of, one, getting into the paint, taking advantage of the fact that Arenas is gambling, finding his teammates. As you mentioned, 11 assists, only 3 turnovers. Great ratio there. But with that dribble penetration, Chuck, and he's getting all over the floor, and he's been doing a great job of helping his teammates out on the glass. 2 offensive rebounds, 6 defensive rebounds.
And Derek Martin encouraging Jose Calderon, who's just getting better and better. And again, remember, he's played this, his 19th NBA game. And yes, he does have European experience, but it's a blur at times.
And no doubt, but he's adapted so well and so quickly. And Sam Mitchell talked about him. He's been on him. He's been riding him, trying to get him to recognize his opportunities on the floor. And that's what Sam Mitchell has done a great job with, bringing him along at maybe a quicker pace than some had expected.
And for those of you keeping score at home, the last Raptor to have a triple-double, March 23rd of 2001, Alvin Williams against the Atlanta Hawks. 11 points, 10 boards, and 14 assists. So we're tied, or rather the Raptors lead by 2, 98-96, as Washington looks for a tie here with 2:46 remaining.
Just got to keep Gilbert Arenas on the perimeter, Chuck. He just can't penetrate and do what he wants to do, but look at that. Wow.
Arenas with 30. Remember, he came in the 4th leading scorer at 27 a game. Raptors trailing by 1. Calderon throw way up in the air, pulled down by Peterson, and the ball slapped out of his hands. He goes to the floor, kept it a play to Calderon. And now Arenas, you know he wants the ball. The 1-2 punch of the Wizards. Jamison cannot get a bucket.
And again, Mo Peterson made a great save on that errant pass by Calderon. Nice job on the glass there as well. Got a mismatch inside.
Sure do, and Graham threw it away. A looping pass, not a lot of arc on it. Number 13 turnovers for Toronto. And now the Wizards with a 1-point advantage with 10 on the clock. Arenas over the shoulder. Jamison over Bosch. Now what do you do, Leo?
Well, Chuck, again, the Raptors did not do a good job of getting the ball inside of Chris Bosch. He's got to get involved in the play. He's been very effective for the Raptors down the stretch of games.
Arenas with a reach in on Bosch, trying to get that arm right underneath Bosch's right elbow.
You saw that pass, though. A much better pass, a quicker, harder pass. Some guys can handle the pass, some guys can't. Chris Bosch can make that catch in traffic. Mo Peterson, good job of getting it inside. Pretty much anytime Chris Bosch is touching the ball, Chuck, he's going to the free throw line. So when a guy's in a situation where he's been to the line 14 times, you don't want to go away from him.
You know, Leo, you're going to think I'm crazy. I'm about to make a statement.
Chuck, I would never think that about you.
If Bosch was really a greedy player, he could have gotten 40 tonight.
Well, absolutely, but that's not the way he operates.
No, but I'm saying
I agree.
I agree. He matched up.
No, but he gets you know, he tries to get his numbers within the concept, within the framework of the team. But there are times that you know, he needs to be a little bit more selfish and really go after it.
Second straight ball game. He's had 16 free throw attempts. He's made 13. He has 23 on the night. 101-100 Washington. This game could come down to the last possession. Jamison wheels inside. No. Rebound Bosch.
It's one and done. Raptors are making sure there's no second shots for Washington.
Sam Mitchell all the way to midcourt. Encouraging his team. Calderon gets a screen from Bosch. Now Chris on the right block, banging away with Antonio Daniels. Trimming out. That ball was halfway down. He wanted that so badly. And now it's Washington basketball. The Raptors need a stop right here. Jamison, Arenas. Gilbert Arenas, a big money player, shoots and scores. Gilbert Arenas with 33. 12 here in the fourth quarter. It's a two-possession game now for the Wizards, leading by 4. Leo.
Well, Chuck, he wanted that. Gilbert Arenas is showing that there's just ice in his veins. Kind of lulled Joey Graham to sleep a little bit. He's his hands down by his sides, and he quickly gets it up into a shooting pocket. Look where Joey's hands are. You got to keep at least one hand up right in the face of Gilbert Arenas if you're guarding him, because he will get that ball up and off in a hurry.
Arenas has 12 of Washington's last 14 points. And remember, Leo, you can turn the clock back to the series with the Chicago Bulls. He put the dagger in the hearts of the Bulls and their fans at the United Center in Chicago in the first playoff series with a game-winning shot, sending the Bulls home for the summer.
There's a lot of guys that don't want the ball at the end of the game. Gilbert Arenas is not one of them. Not only does he want it, he demands it. He makes sure that he's got the ball to take those final shots.
Now, Leo, I'm a proponent of fouling. I mean, you don't give a team a chance. So,
well, the Raptors are going to be in a situation, Chuck, depending on what they get coming down the floor. They're going to have to get the ball back in a hurry. So the Raptors, hopefully they can get a quick basket, but then it's either you're going for that quick steal and try to foul right away if you don't get it.
Again, it's a 4-point lead. So the wheels are turning here in Washington, D.C. Gilbert Arenas and Antonio Daniels, they want to make sure they're on the same page in the event there's a switch.
Mike James in the game for the Toronto Raptors.
Now, Leo, you don't need to shoot a 3 right here.
No, you don't need to shoot a 3. You want to get the best shot you can as quickly as you can. If that's a 3, that may be a 3.
I mean, you can play 2 for 1. You got 19.4 seconds. And the way Washington's shooting free throws tonight, 18 of 31, that might be your best alternative. Here's Bosch with a crossover. Jeffries takes a dive, and the layup is good with 14.9 seconds to go. Now Jameson has to burn a timeout.
Good job by Toronto. Quick move by Chris Bosh. Everybody getting up, trying to deny that pass. You want to try to get a steal if you can. If not, as we said, foul.
All right, Leo will set it up in a moment right here on the score. Gilbert Arenas with 33. He's their best free throw shooter despite missing 4 tosses tonight, Leo. You cannot allow him to accept that inbound pass.
You also know that there's one guy on the floor that can definitely beat you, and he's just hit the last shot for Washington. You want to try to keep it out of his hands at all costs right now. Antoine Jameson is a big threat, but Arenas has got it going right now.
So Jeffries will put the ball in play. Let's see if the Raptors put a defender on the inbound.
They look for a switch.
They don't. So Jeffries trying to get it in play.
Raptors switch and keep it out of Arenas' hands, and there's the quick foul.
Jameson is 3 for 6 tonight. And on the season, Jameson at 70%.
So you can see the Raptors absolutely, Gilbert Arenas not getting the ball. Watch what happens. You got Mike James on him, and now with the screen, here's Mo Pete, and now here comes Chris Bosh saying, hey, no way is this guy going to get the ball.
Boy, they had him open too, Leo. I know that 5-second count was on, but Jameson at the free throw line as Arenas looking on. It's a 2-point Wizard lead with 14 seconds, and this free throw hit the lip of the iron and right down the cylinder.
Remember last time Jameson was at the free throw line, Chuck, he missed it, but the ball bounced right to him. Got to make sure you block out and shoot it.
Big free throw coming up here. Raptors have a timeout remaining. Rimming, no! Rebound Raps. And now Toronto's going to set up with a 3-point deficit for the Raptors. Jameson goes 1 for 2. So it worked going 2 for 1. With Bosch with the layup. You foul the inbounds. You prevent Arenas from catching the ball. And our McDonald's player of the game, we got to give it up. Gilbert Arenas, 44 minutes tonight on the floor.
Really did so many great things offensively. Hit the jump shot coming down the floor. He hit the long three, can get it inside. Here's where I love his game, Chuck. He just gets into the paint seemingly effortlessly. And there's that big shot over Joey Graham down the stretch. McDonald's player of the game.
Well, Leo, you got a 3-ball. I mean, 12.2. Can you still go 2 for 1, or do you have to
absolutely, Chuck. I think you want to get the best shot you can as quickly as you can. If it happens to be a 3, fine. but you're in that same situation where if you hit a 3, you got to tie a game. Obviously, if you don't hit a 3 and it's a 2, you have to foul or get the steal as quickly as you can or foul right away.
Yeah, I will agree with you. I don't think they need to hoist up a 3 for the sake of
but if you got a good look, I mean, you probably got Matt Bonner on the floor, Mike James on the floor, Mo Peterson, who's been shooting the ball. Mo Peterson's actually 3 for 3 from behind the arc in this ball game. Hasn't taken one in a while, but he has some pretty good options on the floor right now. As Jose Calderon as well. Chuck, Jose Calderon can make that long shot.
Well, stay tuned, folks, right here from Washington, D.C. with 12.2 seconds remaining in regulation. 105-102 Wizards over the Raptors. Bosch will inbound just above the three-point arc on the sideline. No timeouts remaining for the Raptors. And you have Gilbert Arenas on the ball.
Telling Bosch to step back a little bit.
Tom Washington saying, hey,
you got to step back.
You got to step back a little bit, okay?
Gilbert was just smiling, going, how long can I get away with this?
Don't you give him 2 feet?
And now Chris Bosch going to the bucket. Matt Bonner made the outbounds. Now watch the guy that throws the pass inbounds. A lot of times the defense lapses and forgets about him. He can get it back.
Bonner inbounding. Peterson for the tie. Hit glass. No. Rebound. Peterson from the left corner. Got it! We got a tie ball game at 105.
All right, Chuck, this is a big onions play by Mo Peterson. Missed a shot, gets the rebound right here, and comes right back up with a big-time jump shot by Mo Peterson.
Yep.
Heads-up play. Mo Peterson knew, Chuck, as soon as he let that first one go, he knew that shot was off. And followed it up.
You don't think the Raptor bench is in this, baby? Yes, they are. Mo was just add a little mortar to that first brick that he put in, okay?
Well, I mentioned prior to that first miss, he was 3 for 3 in this ballgame. And right now, Chuck, biggest problem for the Raptors is they're going to be in the same situation with Gilbert Arenas. They cannot let him get the ball on his final possession.
Daniels will inbound right in front of us. 5.1 seconds remaining, tied at 105. Here's Arenas working against Mike James. Arenas pull up for the win. No, we're headed to overtime.
A good job by Mike James. Jose Calderon was coming over as well to make sure that it was going to be a long contested shot for Gilbert Arenas.
So a little extra period, courtesy of Mo Pete and the Raps. I know you're back in the studio. Hang on, big boy, because we have overtime thanks to Mo Pete.
This is just great awareness of the clock, understanding the situation. As soon as he got the rebound, he made no bones about it. He went right to the three-point line and just buried the jump shot, Chuck.
It's a beautiful thing. 11 ties, 15 lead changes. Raptors have played one overtime game this season. Leo losing to Seattle at home, 126-121.
And Mo Peterson, 21-7, also playing with 4 fouls. Chuck, remember, he has had to sit out for a while. Now, during that last break, Norman Wick informed me that Sam Mitchell told his guys with Charlie Villanueva back in the game now, hey, we're going big and we're going inside. Let's be aggressive and let's attack.
And you can count on Bosch getting a lot of touches here in the 5-minute period along with Charlie.
Well, Charlie's hardly played in the fourth quarter, Chuck, so that he's got to be fresh. That could be a big boost for Toronto. Let's see what he does.
So we are underway overtime here in Washington, D.C. on the Score Television Network. Alongside Norma Wick, Leo Routens, this Chuck Swirsky. And they post up Bosch. I'm Jared Jeffries. And he got the ball slapped out of his hands, turned it over, Washington ball. The Wizards start off the extra period with a bucket.
Jarvis Hayes was huge in the first quarter here, starting out in OT.
You eliminate that first quarter, he's had a very quiet night. Screen and roll again. Bosh, nice look to Charlie with a dunk.
And that's where they work so well together, Chuck. Villanueva always seems to find his way in the lane. Whether he's the one making the pass or he's the one receiving the pass, he's always in the right spot.
Villanueva now with 18 off the bench. And Arenas. Giving it up. Jarvis Hayes, 3 ball. Wow.
Got to find him now, Chuck. He showed in the first quarter. He gets that shot going, he could be very, very dangerous.
Maybe he thinks this is a new game. That's why he's off to a good start. 110-107 Wizards. 6 on the clock. 3:35 to go in the first OT. Peterson. No. Line in Villanueva, but Jamison with a board.
Raptors just wasting that possession. They got to get some better movement. Get a better shot.
Arenas has played 46 minutes, has 33 points. He's 5th in the league in minutes played. He stumbles. Jamison. And we have traveling.
Good call by the official, Chuck, but how about that pass from Arenas? He was falling down off balance, and he managed to find the open man in the corner. Get a look at this. Slips, going down still with pressure on him, finding the open man, Anton James.
Villanueva with a floater.
That ball slipped out of his hand.
Sure did.
Good move, just lost it on the way up. But again, Chuck, Raptors either taking too long to get going or trying to get something going a little too quick.
Yes.
Execution down the stretch is the key.
Hayes with Bonner guarding him, taking him to the rack, sealed off, and now we're going to have a foul, a loose ball foul.
A good recognition by Jarvis Hayes, Chuck. He looked up, he saw Matt Bonner on him. Matt not accustomed to playing quicker players like that. Hayes put the ball on the floor. Matt Bonner made a good recovery, got a piece of the ball.
Do you go small then, Leo, with Bonner out?
Pardon me?
Do you go small and make it sub?
Well, again, Raptors, I don't think it's a big question there. You just have to, Matt Bonner's got to get off him a little bit, realize with the size advantage, you can still contest on the shot. You want to get off him, play with your feet. But when that shot is missed, you got to make sure you get the rebound. The teammates have to be ready to help if you see a situation like that. But I think Sam Mitchell wants Matt Bonner on the floor for that jump shot.
We're going to keep it right here with 2:34 remaining in overtime. Our NBA doubleheader on the score. The Cavaliers at New Jersey and New York taking on the Phoenix Suns. As New York has picked up Kentel Woods and New Jersey. Vince Carter, by the way, is questionable for their ball game tomorrow against Charlotte with an apparent knee injury. But right now the focus is on the Raptors.
Well, they believe Sam Mitchell is going to make a change. We see Matt Bonner standing up there, so Mike James appears to be going back into the ball game. He's sitting down on listening to Sam's instructions right now.
Bonner tonight, 24 minutes off the bench, 5 of 6 from the floor, 12 points, 3 boards, and 2 assists. So, what do you think the Raptors are discussing right here now?
Again, execution, Chuck. The Raptors' last couple of possessions, either hanging onto the ball too long and getting a shot late in the clock, not a good shot, or taking one early where you really don't have a chance to give yourself an offense or get an offensive rebound. You want to be a little bit more patient, realize that, you know, Chris Bosh has lived on the free throw line all night long. Try to take advantage of him, get some inside-outside going, but be patient. There's a lot of time, and Washington has showed that they will break down defensively, so don't rush when you get the ball.
Yeah, because you know what, Leo? When the Raptors do get the ball back, the last 2 possessions, he has not had a touch.
No. Defensively right now, you want to make sure, again, Gilbert Arenas is your major focus. Calderon on Jarvis Hayes.
Well, I'm anxious to see what Eddie Jordan has hooked up here for a shot. You've got an ISO with Jamison, guarded by Bosch with a backing in. Curl. He shot that ball from the palm of his hand. Really,
not a good shot. Mo Peterson doing a great job coming in. He's got his 8th rebound in the ball game. But Bosch, it's a little tougher for Jamison to get that shot off against a taller player.
And on an alley-oop attempt, a turnover for Toronto.
I think that ball might have hit the backboard, Chuck.
I think you're right.
As Bosch was trying to catch it, I think he hit the backboard. Came right through his hands.
112-107 Wizards. Two teams were tied at 105 at the end of regulation. James with a pull-up. Bam! So quickly off the bench, he delivers.
Tough shot. Gilbert Arenas is right there. Hard off the boot.
A one-possession game in favor of the Wizards with a $1:34 running here. Antonio Daniels. Now they got Villanueva on Daniels, and Antonio Daniels rimmed out, tipped in the air by James to Calderon. He's got Peterson open on the elbow. Charlie B to Calderon. Patience is the key. Here's Chris from 13, book it.
See, and Raptors did that, Chuck. They could have taken a couple of shots. They didn't. They waited till they got the shot they wanted. The ball in Chris Bosch's hands.
Calderon now with 13 assists. Here's Arenas.
Oh,
is he good or what? Pressure, pressure, more pressure with 35.
He just wants it, Chuck. He just wants the ball every time down the floor.
Calderon threw it away. Kept in play, however, by James to Villanueva. And he threw it away. And we have a foul at midcourt. Sloppy ball handling.
Well, Chuck, this is what you're going to see at times this season. The young guys will make some great plays and they'll panic. When this ball was thrown away, watch when Charlie gets the ball. Great save by Mike James, but he's starting to rush right here. There's still 11 seconds on the clock. He panics. Don't need to panic. There's a lot of time left. And here's Gilbert Arenas before that. Even with Mo Peterson right up on him, you got to get a little help on that screen too. Got to get a little bump. You got to show a little bit, because you know this guy's going to drop it.
They're going to call this a clear path. So free throw and the ball in possession of Washington. $115-111 Wizards.
Good Raptors. Chuck, this game's not over.
No, it's not.
It's a 4-point game. Raptors have to get a good stop right here.
I mean, if I'm Gilbert Arenas right now, unless you get smothered, I'm just taking it. And here is Jamison from the corner, left unattended, and a wide open look and a score. And Sam Mitchell is red hot.
That was a great pass from Gilbert Arenas, and Sam Mitchell's going to get a technical.
Yes, he is. And he could get ejected, Leo.
I'll give Courtney Kirkland a lot of credit right here, Chuck. He just walked away.
I'm surprised they haven't teched him up yet. I really am. He came all the way close to an official across the floor.
Oh, he's upset. He thought there was an offensive foul on the pass when Gilbert Arenas dropped the ball to the corner. Get another look at this play. Watch, see where the defender is. He's in the restricted area, and Mike James appears to have gotten his feet out, but he also appeared to move a little bit as he tried to take the charge. Good no call by the officials. Ooh, that angle shows you a little bit different look there, Chuck.
Either that, Jamison had a good look regardless. That was outside.
Oh, I tell you what, that's pretty close right there. Sam Mitchell's got a pretty good argument right there. That's a judgment call, obviously.
And I believe Jamison, his foot was on that line.
Yeah, it appeared his foot was on the line. So, probably a tough call. But heads up pass by Gilbert Arenas to find the open man.
It sure appeared that was a charge. And secondly, Jamison having a clean look from the corner.
Yep. Well, you know, first look at it, you saw Mike James come over there, and it looked like he really didn't have his position. You weren't sure if he's outside the restricted area. When you get another look at it, he did a pretty good job of getting over on it. Raptors are going to have to get some shots up here in a hurry, Chuck. They're going to have to.
Yeah, this might be a case where you may have to go for a 3-ball. Here is Peterson from downtown. No. Bosch tried to keep it in play, and it's going to be given over to Washington. Now Arenas is fouled.
What a ball game for this guy right here. Gilbert Arenas, Sam Mitchell. Still talking to Courtney Kirkland.
It's one of those bang-bang plays.
Sam Mitchell still pleading his case right in front of us, Chuck, talking to Courtney Kirkland about that charge that was not called on Gilbert Arenas. And again, I'm going to tip my hat to Courtney Kirkland.
He kept his cool.
Kept his cool, just walked away from Sam Mitchell where he could have very easily called the technical foul.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
And now another turnover for the Raptors, and they have really pulled it apart here. Since the end of the third quarter, so you're counting the fourth quarter in overtime, the Raptors with 10 turnovers, Washington with only 1. 10-1.
Wow. Again, Chuck, you're going to see.
Yeah, Blitz academic from here on out.
You're going to see a lot of what we've seen over the last 3 games now. With a young group, you're going to see sometimes some great plays made, some good decisions, and other times you will see some breakdowns. And the turnovers and lack of execution down the stretch certainly cost the Raptors tonight.
Yep, but Gilbert Arenas came up big time. Very difficult defeat for the Raptors. After Peterson, using good judgment after missing a 3 up top, ran down the missed shot, dribbled it out to the left corner, tied it up, sent the game into overtime, and then the Raptors fell apart. But you have to appreciate the effort of the Toronto Raptors again. And word's getting around the league, Leo. You better bring your A game if you expect to beat the Toronto Raptors. Norma.
Gilbert just putting his shirt on for our interview here. Congratulations, 37 points. That was a tough one.
Oh, yeah, they've been playing great on the road right now, and, they came in hungry, and they're an exciting team now, and they're not bowing down to no one. But we came out, and we just kept playing. We kept fighting, too.
You're back at 500 now, but your team's had its struggles. This is your 8th game of 30-plus. Are you just determined to take this club on your back?
I've been looking for, my players lately, and they've been doing a good job, but, the heart of this team is to me score. So, I got to take my opportunities, too.
Jarvis Hayes had his struggles this season, but a season high for him tonight, too.
Yeah, he came out on fire early, so we was looking for him the whole game because, a player like him, once he has his rhythm going, he can shoot with the best of them.
All right, congratulations. Enjoy the win.
Thank you, sir.
All right, 37 points for Gilbert Arenas, his 8th 30-plus of the year.
As Gilbert Arenas makes 5 of his last 6 shots, the Wizards scores the last 7 points and win in OT.